and welcome back to another video on my channel. I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. Today we are back with another build video in The Sims 4, and today we are actually doing a build that is from another game. If you guys have been keeping up with my channel, you've seen that I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy and I am having a blast of a time. It is such a fun game, honestly. The graphics are amazing so far, the storyline is really well done. And I'm just having so much fun living out my Harry Potter fantasies. So I think it's a pretty amazing game. And in that game you can actually go to Hogsmeade, which is just a bunch of stores, kind of like a little village town square type of thing. And one of those stores is Gladrags Wizardwear, and that is what we're building today in The Sims 4. Basically it's a clothing shop. You unlock it after doing an event in the square. I don't want to say too much in case you guys haven't played the game or seen any gameplay of it. Every time I walk into the store in Hogwarts Legacy, I always look around and I keep thinking to myself, this is something I want to try and build in The Sims 4. So I finally decided to do it. This isn't going to be the only build that I'm going to do that is based off of another building in Hogwarts Legacy, because there is just so much in that game that I'm completely obsessed with, and every time I see something interesting, I'm like, you know what? I want to try build that in The Sims 4. It's a nice little challenge because I can't get everything exactly right, because I'm not going to use any CC build or buy objects. And so I kind of need to use what I have in the game and turn that into something completely different, or use it for something that wasn't meant for that purpose. And that's kind of the challenge when it comes to these builds. Is trying to make it look like what you need it to look like without necessarily having all of the tools that you would need in order to get it done. So I really enjoyed this challenge. I was having a lot of fun busy doing this build. I actually used some of my gameplay to look around the shop because I felt as though if I had two games open, my computer might explode. So I didn't want to have the game actually running. So I took a short little video while I was filming an episode, and I used that to kind of guess more or less what I wanted to use. So on these little stages, we are going to be adding in some mannequins. The stages, I tried to do them accurately, but I didn't always get the direction right, so that was a little bit tricky to try and figure out. Over here, what I'm doing is that I'm actually taking rolls of towels and I'm sizing them up, changing the color, and trying to make it look like cloth, like a tailor would use, because if you actually visit the shop in the game, there's like rolls of cloth, and I looked for different ways to simulate this. There is a towel rack. I think that it came in the base game actually, and previously I tried using that, but there just wasn't enough variety. The towels didn't have enough different colors, it didn't look that accurate, so instead I decided to go with that shelf that I believe came with Jungle Adventure, and like I said, I sized up a bunch of towel rolls to make it look like cloth. And I think that was probably one of my proudest moments when I figured out how to do that, because I literally took one object that was meant for one reason and I turned it to make it look like something else. And that's just something I love about building in The Sims. It's that you can use different objects for different purposes. There are also a bunch of these mannequin bust things around the store. I don't know what you call it. I was convinced that there were similar objects in the game already, but I could not find it. Maybe it comes with an expansion pack that I don't own, but I can very vaguely remember setting up a house that had one of those pin dolls. I still don't know what you call it. So I was really confused as to why I couldn't find it, and as you can see, I just used one of the statue busts and I kind of sized it up and put a lamp so that it kind of has the feet where it was standing, so it doesn't look exactly right, but it was the best that I could do with what I was given. Over here, as you can see, we are busy adding in the mannequins, and on the bigger stage I actually put a bag of cash between the two mannequins, because in the game there is a chest where you can open it and get probably some loot. I forgot what you get in the chest, but you can open it and it always just stays there, so I thought I would kind of simulate that by having a bag of cash. Over here, this is going to be the second half of the build, which is kind of the other half of the store, and this was probably the most difficult one to do because it was very hard to simulate a lot of objects. I don't know how similar it looks. Honestly, I don't know if I got the measurements of the building right, so I don't think everything is exact, but like I said, I tried to do the best with what I was given. And as you can probably see, I'm kind of like putting these buckets in each other. I have no idea where those buckets are from. I did use the show hidden objects cheat so that I have more options while I was busy building, but even with that cheat on, I have no idea what those buckets are normally used for, but I tried to use them to kind of simulate cauldrons because I don't think there's cauldrons in this game, at least not with the packs that I have. Probably in that witch's pack, but I don't own it. So I just used a bunch of buckets to try and simulate cauldrons, and it's silly, I get that, but it was the best that I could do. In the game there's also hanging cages, which I couldn't figure out how to do, so I used these lights that have a cage around, and there is a big T-Rex skeleton, I believe, by the front door. I couldn't decide if I wanted to use a normal skeleton or if I wanted to try and do something else. In the end, I got a skeleton fish and I just sized it up and put it on the floor in the corner, and that was probably the best thing I could do because the normal skeletons did not at all work with what I was trying to go with, so I ended up going with the skeleton fish, which is a bit odd, I'll admit that, but like I said, you know, this was just a fun little experiment, so if it's not exact, then it's not the biggest deal in the world. In the store, there's also a lot of photographs on the wall, so I really tried to do that as well, but the tricky thing is that I didn't want to use the same photograph twice, so I was really just going through my options to see what there is. In the store, against this back wall, there is also a bunch of tapestries, if I'm correct, and it has the symbols of the different houses on the wall, and I couldn't really figure out what I could do to kind of mimic that, so I just got a bunch of flags. There's red and gold, so that kind of has to do with Gryffindor. It's not the best, I'll admit that, but it's the only thing I could really think of. I also put down these candles in the corner and sized it down as well. In the store itself, it kind of looks like a bit of a castle with candles. Originally I tried to use the dollhouse, but it just looked really weird, so I ended up taking away the dollhouse, and at this point I was like, okay, realistically this part of the store isn't going to be as similar to the actual build. I'm gonna get it as similar as possible, but I'm not going to break my back trying to get it to look exactly the same because I didn't think that would be possible. Now we are moving to the last bit of the build, and that is the exterior, and this was way more difficult than I thought it would be. If you go to Hogsmeade, it is a lot of buildings that are all meshed together into one, and so I couldn't really get a proper view of the store itself because it was meshed with other exteriors. Also, the footage I had, I took it while it was nighttime. I probably should have made a day, but I didn't think of that. So it was just very difficult to see how the building properly looked, and it got to a stage where I was like, you know what? This isn't going to be exact, so I'm just going to keep running with the theme. If I see a roof, I'm just going to extend the roof, and I'm just going to do my own thing and try and make it look kind of similar, but also just so it doesn't look like a complete mess. And that's what I ended up doing. I couldn't even find a proper sign for this store, which was just really sad. Out of all of the signs we have, I can't comprehend why there wasn't anything that could probably match the Gladrag sign. Which I think is just a GR on a circular sign, but that's okay, I tried. Also, when I placed the plants, they all looked dead, so I'm assuming the save file where I was building this in, it was probably winter, which was just really inconvenient because it just looked really ugly having a bunch of dead plants everywhere, but there was nothing really I could do about that, unfortunately. If I upload this to the gallery, which I'll probably do in a little bit, but I will probably place this lot on a different save file where there's spring so the plants look better and then re-upload it. So that is basically the end of this build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. You can kind of see the screenshots where I even dressed up the mannequins to try and look as similar to the game. Unfortunately, Wizard fashion is very different from Sims fashion, so that was a mission and a half. Yeah, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so that you're notified every time I post a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!